The rise of democracy in Europe was a gradual and multifaceted process influenced by political, social, economic, and intellectual developments over several centuries. Below is an explanation of the phenomenon and its causes. Explanation of the rise of democracy in Europe. Democracy in Europe emerged as a response to autocratic rule, feudalism, and the desire for more representative governance. It involved the expansion of political rights, the establishment of constitutional frameworks, and the inclusion of broader segments of society in decision-making. This shift occurred in phases, beginning with early democratic practices in city-states like Athens, developing through the Enlightenment, and culminating in modern democratic systems after revolutions and reforms. Causes of the rise of democracy in Europe. 1. The Enlightenment. The Enlightenment, 17th to 18th century, introduced ideas about individual rights, liberty, and equality. Thinkers like John Locke, Jean-Jacques Rousseau, and Voltaire argued for government by consent and the social contract, challenging absolute monarchy and divine right. Emphasis on reason and humanism encouraged citizens to demand participation in governance. 2. Decline of feudalism. The collapse of the feudal system weakened the power of nobility and led to the rise of a middle class that demanded representation and rights. Economic changes, such as the rise of capitalism, created new power dynamics favoring merchants and industrialists. 3. Revolutions. English Civil War, 1642 to 1651, limited the power of the monarchy and led to the establishment of a constitutional monarchy. Glorious Revolution, 1688, solidified parliamentary supremacy in England. French Revolution, 1789, overthrew the monarchy and introduced ideas of popular sovereignty, inspiring other democratic movements across Europe. 4. Industrial Revolution. Economic transformations brought by the Industrial Revolution, 18th to 19th century, led to urbanization, the growth of a working class, and demands for labor rights and political inclusion. Social mobility increased, challenging the rigid hierarchical structures of earlier societies. 5. Religious reforms. The Protestant Reformation, 16th century, questioned traditional authority and emphasized individual interpretation of Scripture, indirectly encouraging independent thinking and the questioning of political authority. 6. Wars and conflicts. Napoleonic Wars spread ideas of nationalism and self-determination. World War I and II caused the collapse of empires and the rise of nation-states, which often adopted democratic principles. 7. Role of education and media. Increased literacy rates and the rise of print media during the 18th and 19th centuries spread democratic ideas among the population. Universities and intellectual societies became hubs for political debate and advocacy for reform. 8. Advocacy and movements. Grassroots movements, trade unions, and suffrage movements, e.g.,